Hey Kev, it's time to record a new smodcast.
Fuck off. I'm listening to one of the other great shows on the Smodcast Podcast Network. Scott?
There's so many to choose from.
You damn skippy, there's so many to choose from. I'm on 5 every week myself, man. Hollywood Babylon on Monday, Smodcast with you on Tuesday, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old on Wednesday with Jay Mewes, Fat Man on Batman every Thursday, and then I wrap up the week with Edumacation with Andy McElfresh.
There's so many to choose from.
Hell yeah, son, and those aren't the only podcasts. Those are just the ones I'm involved with. What about the podcasts of Smodco that don't feature me, man? Like Tell 'em Steve Dave, Last Week on Earth with Ben Glebe, I Sell Comics with Ming and Mike.
There's so many to choose from.
Hey man, there's also Film School Fridays or Netheads or Get Up on This, Team Jack.
There's so many to choose from.
The Breaks, man, Waking from the American Dream, Bagged and Boarded, Phoebe, Soundbite Nation. These are all the shows you could be listening to over at smodcast.com, Scott.
There's so many to choose from.
And if audio's not enough for you, man, if you're just like, no, I want the thick dick of video as well, man, we can go to our YouTube channel, which is C-Smod, or you can watch Comic Book Men, our show on AMC, following The Walking Dead and The Talking Dead every Sunday night.
There's so many to choose from.
That's right, Scott. There are so many to choose from. So get choosing, kids. Go to smodcast.com. Start getting picky, man. Stick these sweet, sweet oral sounds into your ear pussies.
There's so many to choose from.
You said that already.
There's so many to choose from.
My name is Kevin Smith.
My name is Bryan Johnson.
My name is Walt Flanagan.
And we're here to talk about Highlands, a Peephole history.
Let's talk about the Highlands Rec Center, because that's the thing that we all have in common, and what brings us actually all together. Like, who was the conduit to the rec for you?
It was Walter.
How old were you when you started at the rec?
Working?
Yeah. No,
18.
fucking pimping, dude. When you put your bitches on the stroll. Fucking yeah.
Well, no, I thought I used to go there as a kid, though.
Did you?
Yeah.
So wait, so what? All right, perfect. What age do you start going to the rec as just what would you call it, as a
12.
a fan?
12.
Well, they used to have, I went there a couple times with you when I was allowed, of course.
What do you mean?
They had
allowed?
pinball machines and stuff.
His
right?
mom might not let him go.
I was
that night.
uptown, so I wasn't allowed to hang out with the
There were
downtown
times
ruffians, the
To lay
element.
the scene for everybody, the rec center, which was it after the mayor of our town, Bob Wilson, died. They renamed it. Before that, it was just called Highlands Recreation Center. Right?
Community Center, recreation
Highlands
center.
Community Center.
Yeah.
That's right. It was Community Center. And then when they renamed it after the mayor, I think it became the Robert D. Wilson Recreation Center.
Yeah.
Then they changed it to Rec Center or something like that.
I think it still might have been community center.
You were the first to go as a patron. Let's call you a patron of the rec. Before you
Yeah, I
were,
used to hang out and
slave-
play stuff there.
First, we'll call you a patron to the rec, then employee of the rec, then slave to the rec, because it took a long time to get you out of there.
Oh, yeah.
You had the slave mentality. Like when we,
No, I
when
loved it there, though.
You did love it, but
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, hey man, over here, I was like giving you the Muslim equivalent of heaven,
yeah.
like 16 virgins, Walter. Over
That's
the comic
something,
store.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you want to ref, but that's something that bugs me, though, is that somebody was like, fucking, everybody can't have their best friend fucking give them a job, wait for their fucking friend to give them a job.
I apologize for that.
What do you mean?
I thought you were saying I said that.
But like, I mean, like you gave me a great job,
Yeah.
but like, I wasn't like I was on the dole waiting for you to give me a job.
Yeah, no, nobody ever. Well, I mean, I think you're referring to what? Where'd somebody say this?
Somebody, I saw it on the
On the View SKU board?
on the USQ board.
Ming wasn't doing his job, striking that shit down.
Someone wrote that we all can't wait for our best friend to give us a job.
Some of us can.
And that was on the View SKU board?
Yeah. That kind of annoyed me because it wasn't like I was on public assistance and you were like,
No.
I was fucking married. I had my own house.
By the time you took over the comic book store.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were well established.
Yeah.
And the job that you had at the rec center, it was like totally good job. It was a career
I
job.
loved that job.
You'd been there
but
for years.
It was a great job, but what you were offering me was
Everything
a dream
you ever
job.
wanted in life.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were fine.
But I couldn't come because I was scared to come over because it was.
Why? You didn't believe this motherfucker? We're sitting right now. We record this in not the same location, but Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, the comic book store
Broad
that.
Street.
Yes.
Bank, New Jersey.
See, unbelievable that I had to talk you
07701.
into this job. How fucking awesome you are, and how officious you are at it. It took me so long. How many years? 2 years to get him to go.
It was a while.
Yeah, it was,
Do you remember?
it was
Remember when you were making the presentation? It was
Sweetening
you and
the pot.
Scott gave the presentation to me and my wife.
About what?
Mosier was in on the meeting for like you were gonna present like I want to offer you the job. I want to open up a comic book store, and you're like come down to my office, and then when your office was on Broad Street and when the clown was in the window,
Right.
you don't remember this?
No.
90. When did you open that office?
95.
Yeah.
So it was 95 then.
Late 95. early
95,
96.
96. It was in the middle of the afternoon. I remember this.
Wait, but you didn't take the job
No.
then? Okay, so continue telling the story. Oh my God, this goes that far back?
Yeah.
Okay, so before we hit there, let me tell, you're working at the rec center in Highlands,
Yeah.
which I swear we'll go back and tell the origins. But in order to clear Walt's good name from a podcast that has nothing to do with this one, we will clear the record. You're working at the rec center, and you've been working at the rec at this point.
Since I was 18.
And what year? 90.
So 86.
97 is the year that I took the store over.
But I didn't come there to work full time. I only worked there one day during the week and then every other weekend.
And by 97, how long you'd been working at the rec?
Since 86. So
Jesus Christ, that was a whole fucking career. You'd put in 11 years at the rec.
right. Like I said, I wasn't waiting around for my best friend to give me a fucking job.
You're not like
at
me,
all.
because that's what I do. If you think about it, the only time I work is when he throws work my way. I worked at the office. I worked at the
You
store.
worked at the fucking, you were a manager.
You were working at Domino's. But
That was a fucking lifetime.
that was even longer ago than when he worked at the rec.
No,
I
worked at
he
the
was
rec
still
at that
working
time.
at the rec
I
while
worked at
you
the rec
worked
when you had
at
that
the
job.
movie theater. Brian used to manage
Manage, yeah.
the movie.
I-
It's so
I-
weird that you were the manager of a movie
Well, I
theater.
lied like crazy on the application.
Did
Just
you?
because, yeah, I mean, otherwise I'd be fucking shoveling popcorn off the floor and fucking vomit out of the bathroom. That's what I was
I can't
qualified
believe
for.
You got that job, but I just couldn't believe that you had this career was a lifetime ago. Where's Bryan? Well, he's in his suit at the movie theater.
Yeah, that would have been 94, I guess.
You were there when fucking Clerks opened, weren't you? In Haslett?
Yeah, because
Unbelievable.
I got in trouble for giving some people I knew free passes to the movie.
All right, so this is
That really
90
wasn't helping Kev though.
No, it wasn't helping the
See,
movie
fucking-
theater.
This motherfucker, he's always got his eye on the sparrow.
Why didn't you ring up popcorn as a fucking
How you know how you
admission
could have been helping him
to
is
Clerks?
as every time everybody says they want him. What else opened up against Clerks that weekend?
It's so weird, but I don't know.
Blue Chips.
Did it?
Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq? Yeah.
Shaq. So when someone said, "Hey, can I get 2 for Blue Chips?" You're like, "Certainly, sir." Don't disregard that it says Clerks too. There's something with the printing error, and every time somebody went to a movie to get something else,
Right.
you ring it in under
Because
Clerks.
I just told you I was the fucking cashier, not the manager.
You're the manager. You fucking tell the cashier this is what I want done.
Oh, and so then at the end of the day, I should have lost my job, basically, is what you're saying. I'm like, look, Quintas, remember him?
Yes. Wait, Mr. Quintus.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
So I'm fucking menacing all the other managers. Look, you keep your motherfucking
Did
mouth
you have a
shut.
boss?
Oh, I had lots. I had like 3 bosses. Yeah.
You can't be telling people.
No, I would have been gone in a.
Put the money in the Clerks.
I would have been gone in a heartbeat.
The receipts at the end of the night going, wait a second. Nobody went to any other.
Nobody
movie?
cares about Shaq.
We can't possibly fit this many people into the theater that's showing Clerks.
They came.
What happened, Johnson?
They came and they
computer
saw it.
glitch. That's all.
Yeah, computer glitch. I had to call in the
But
numbers at the
fucking
end of the
good
night
looking
too.
out. But this dude had the right idea. You didn't have to do every ticket, but every
Every
fifth
once in
ticket.
a while.
Yeah, every 5th ticket could have been.
Right.
Oh, could you imagine the opening we would have had? You would have made us an. Like
You would have been like
$1,000
you would have been like Blair Witch had I just.
we would have been on the cover of Time and Newsweek. All right, so yes, a lifetime ago, Bryan did manage the movie theater, but it crossed over with him. He was at the rec before. He was the career man before you were a career man, and you weren't even a career man.
Well, that career lasted like 8 months.
He would get
8 months?
seasonal
That was all it
jobs
was.
there
Where?
at the rec.
At first, I only worked as a lifeguard for the first like year or two.
Right.
And then after that, I was working with I was working in the after school program. It's called the CASE program.
Right.
Children's After School Enhancement. Right.
That's what I. That's
See,
how I
but
joined the
you
rec.
probably
Right, which
wouldn't have
was
got that job. It
3
wasn't
hours.
for me, though.
Oh no, it was only because of you.
Because I introduced you to Timmy, and I was like, "This is a good guy."
Right, and you fucked your rep there.
Oh yeah, many times over. I would have to hear fucking like, "Do your fucking
Why
boy
is
did
Bryan
this?
cornering
Your fucking
some-
boy did this?" And I'd be like, "I don't know why he's
Your
doing
boy
this."
did this. You're still hearing that shit.
I know. It's still from to this day. Still, from time to time, I hear that.
I have no excuses.
Basically, you just can't. You can't even excuse. You just have to roll your eyes and go, "I don't know why he's doing this shit."
You're like, do you ever read Dennis the Menace? Something like that. Just, let's go back to the presentation thing, which I don't remember at all, which isn't Highlands related, but it eventually all is.
Well, I'm working at the community center.
You're working at the community
I
center?
tell my wife, Kevin.
And this is when I buy the store, so that's 97.
No, you haven't bought it yet. Do you remember you made an offer and then rescinded the offer, or something happened and you didn't, or it didn't work out?
No.
Yeah,
What happened? Explain.
I don't know. I don't remember what happened, but you were talking about doing it, and this is when you brought me and my wife in. I told my wife, I was like, Kevin wants to open a comic book store, and she was like, I don't think that's a good idea. You're getting benefits.
Did I tell you to bring your
Well, at first, do you remember you sent me
I was like,
around?
wow, who was proactive there? Like, I thought maybe you were going to say, so I invited Deb. And I was
you're-
like, what the
No,
fuck
no, no.
universe
You-
was this?
For whatever reason, you're like, bring your wife in, and I don't know why Mosier was there, but he was doing the sell too, though.
And that's kind of when Mose started at one point pulling away
Mhm.
and doing his own thing. Like when he moved into that house with Monica, was because he was just like, for the last few years, everything he wanted to do, we've done. And I'm just going to start saying no to things.
Walking
Not because
the
I
earth.
don't like you, but because I would like to have a life as well. So he just started slowly saying no to things. Like when we did the flying car shoot for that short for the Tonight
For the
Show.
Leno show, right?
He wasn't involved. Like I called from, I think I was in LA at that point for something. And I was just like, hey man, we're going to do the flying car shoots. I'm going to come back in June or whatever it was. June was a winter month. And put everybody together, do the shoot. We got about this amount of money for it. And I'll talk to you later. The dude called me back and he was like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I don't know. That's a lot of work. And I don't want to do that. There's not a lot of pay involved. And that was the first moment that the dude, I certainly wouldn't call it mercenary, but the first moment where the dude was just like, yeah, that's more your thing, isn't it?
Right.
And, for years it had been, I thought, collectively our thing, but it was always my thing. And he was just very, very supportive. And then one day he was just like, all right, I would like to try to do my thing. And so at that point in 96, he was still just doing my thing.
I think I remember what you're saying though when the offer was rescinded because then you sent me out looking for stores in the area that we could open just from the ground up as
You
opposed
looked
to
at
buying
his
into
books, and his books
Comicology and
were
Steve
not
Dave.
jiving with you.
So basically, well, let's take it back. There's a guy, the dude Steve Dave, who owned
Comicology. Yeah.
Mhm.
Comicology was the comic book store in Red Bank on White Street,
Monmouth Street.
Mama Street.
My bad. It's been a few years.
The fucking mayor of Red Bank over here.
Yeah, my bad. I haven't worked here.
Take
for
the time
like
for
the last
that fucking
You bought a
bullshit.
store. You don't remember the name of the street it was on.
No, I really don't. It's been a few years, Walt. I've been smoking a lot of weed lately. Some details will slip. And I was one street over, right? Monmouth and White.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was one
yeah.
street
Okay.
over.
I thought you meant, okay,
Within
yeah.
a block. It's not like I was like, wasn't this in Keensburg? I can't remember. Okay, so 96, and you're saying Moj is involved in the pitch.
Moses involved in the pitch.
That's why. That's the explanation.
That was the strangest part because it never struck me as like he.
You're like, get off my back. You don't own me, Mosier.
It was like because he had never once
Walt gets
voiced.
home that night. He's like, Mo sure walked all over you.
Why did he let you fuck you like that? Excuse me? I came in to pick up my comics one day, and he was just like, I'm going to be moving to Thailand, Taiwan.
Because he had
Yeah, that
a
definitely
foreign
did
wife.
happen. But I as I
You think
recall,
prior to that,
prior to
something
that,
happened? There was an attempt
at
buying it?
purchasing, and then you got word back that it was stinky. from your people who looked at the books.
Really? Oh, so I was going to
And you
partner
pulled the
up?
plug.
He was
buy
valuing it at way more than it was worth with all his shitty books.
I eventually bought it when it did go down for $30,000. That was the whole deal for part and parcel. And I remember going like, "Wow!"
You did buy it, but the first go around,
Clerks cost.
the first go around, you didn't buy it though.
I always had a long-term dream. Of
Yeah, you
one
did.
day I'll own the comic book store.
I don't remember the no. I don't remember what it wasn't the number he was trying to sell it to you. Was I guess you were looking at his books and things were really not working out right.
So he was in the red.
I don't remember what it was, but it was enough that like you were like, I'm not getting involved with this. I don't want to be involved in this sale.
And you're saying this is before the eventual sale.
This is before the eventual sale.
So then you may be right. It could have happened in 90 because I eventually bought the store in 97. And you're saying this happened before and before you.
No,
were
we
96.
opened in very early 97. So you bought it in 96.
Tail end though.
We opened up right after Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So I think we had, and you guys only flipped it over in like not even a month. It was like a week, right?
No, it was a month.
Was it a month? So it was closed?
No, it was 3 weeks because I remember because I had to go pick up
all
books.
those books.
We had 3 weeks of books that to sell. We weren't even open.
And why were they closed for the 3 weeks?
Because you wanted us to, me and my girlfriend Jill, we went in and we painted the whole store because you wanted to paint it Superman colors,
Yeah.
and we had to go and put all the books back up. Took a long time, yeah.
You painted that while it was open, though. You painted that during operating hours.
Did I?
Yes.
3 weeks then.
3 weeks was he was going to sell it to you, but he was going to actually run it until a certain date. And then you got everything after that certain date, all the product that was in there. But
I think I recall this. I think you're right.
I'm right.
Yeah. My bad.
Where was it again?
You're very right. Okay, so when I don't remember the time you're saying, but fill it in, and maybe it'll start
the sale?
coming back. Well, no,
Remember-
the
do you remember-
pre-sale, sitting down,
Okay.
sitting you down. This sounds very official.
So you came to me much even earlier than that. You came to me right after Clerks
and
in a snowstorm at the First Avenue Diner in a raging blizzard.
Okay.
After Clerks, I guess after you got money.
Okay, yeah, when I came home, January or something?
Yeah.
Post Sundance.
You're like, I want to open up a comic book store and I want you to run it.
Okay.
And I was like, definitely, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Not really. This is like when I tell Bryan, I want to do a podcast. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Because I'm like, it's not going to really happen.
Oh, fuck, it's successful.
I know he has no confidence in his friends whatsoever. It's like, we have dreams. And you're like, yeah, everybody does, asshole. And
you never get that balloon too fucking high because when it falls, it shatters you.
I know.
So you just,
I know, but I've spent the better part of the last 20 years trying to show you the balloon could go a lot.
Now I believe in your balloon a little bit, but at that point though, that balloon had just gone up though at Clerk. So why would I be like, yeah, he's rallying and open up.
He had to wait a decade or so.
I mean, I don't know, like why. Think about this.
Because it's a fucked up business.
Yeah, but like fucking when I started,
especially in the early 90s,
or when I picked up comics, I stuck with it. When I picked up hockey, I stuck with it. Obviously, if I was presenting the idea to you,
it's not me going to you. Hey, you want to open up a comic book store?
Like I had fucking done something like, hey man, I just sold a movie. Like, ta-da!
I know. That's why it was hard. It was hard for me to be like, make that the first decision to be like, no, I can't come full time, but I will help any way I possibly can. Like, I'll work weekends. I'll do everything. This
is what you said.
This is what this was initially to you. Yeah, I said yes to it when you presented that offer to me. In 95 or 94, I said yes.
Yes.
Because I was like, well, we'll see what happens.
Right.
So then years, I guess it takes a while, but then finally, I guess you see where this can actually happen now.
Yes.
There's a store. While you're in negotiations for the store, you ask me, okay, we're going to do this. I go to my wife and she doesn't think it's a good idea. And a lot of me still is like, I don't know if I can do this either.
Time out. This is at
96.
when I started talking to him. So this is I'm thinking this was partnership talk. Like
it possibly could have been.
And I think it was an invitation to come again. I could never just be like, hey man, let me be your partner. No, that's just like not my style.
That may have been him because he's like, I'm cash poor.
That's the thing. Like that makes the most sense, particularly because I would have been taken by the idea like, yeah, of course. Yeah, partner. Because then boom, I can start. the comic.
How do we get him out then? No, if he's a
Well,
partner.
it wouldn't matter because like he'd
So
slowly
you don't-
buy him out eventually. That was once I got my foot in, then we'd figure out what to do. But I remember
That's where I come in.
we need
to hide
someone
a body.
killed.
Call the cleaner. Brian shows up with a shovel and a shotgun. That's when apparently it must have run through Mary, and they were just like, no, don't do this. And then I had to, I guess, walk out or back away from talking about it. I mean,
Right.
just eventually say,
Backed away from talking, like backed away from the deal. But I already told you I was not going to come over
right.
and leave my job for it.
Okay, but so before I eventually back away the deal,
You get me and my wife.
Moj, and we're going to get to the story. We really will. I say, come in. I say, hey man, I want you
Come
to
into
run a
Red
comic
Bank.
store.
Yeah,
Red Bank.
bring your wife. We want to talk about the story.
Wait, why do I say bring your wife?
Because my wife is very scared.
Okay, so before the whole bring your wife, I've already had a conversation with you in the recent.
Yeah.
And when was that? Is what I'm
A
asking.
couple of days, weeks like this is going to
And I
happen.
went to
The
you
wheels
just
are turning.
Mano a mano, like me by you. Not like come into my office and sit down and talk with me, Walter. Like this was me going
Over the phone or somewhere. I don't
Okay.
recall.
And then you're going, I can't. Or Deb, I would
Right.
like to, but Deb. And then I say, bring Deb in. And we'll go over
I'm going to
everything.
sell it.
Okay. I just still don't remember, but at least this makes a lot of sense. Mosier's there.
Mosier's in your office, that
Okay.
big office that's right over.
Yeah, the
Broad
window.
Street.
I totally
Yeah.
remember that office.
And you're making the case that like it's you're committed to it. It doesn't have to make money that first year. Like you're giving all the you're hitting all the beats to assure her that
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be like, you know what, it didn't work out for a year. I'm going to have to close it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was your big concern. The big concern was that we'd be open very briefly, and then all of a sudden, that would be that.
right.
After a year, I'd be like, I can't keep doing it, dude. And
Right.
you would have walked away from benefits,
Right.
full career, 11 years. How many did we say?
At least over a decade.
Right. Of service.
Yeah.
Because you started working there in 86?
Yeah.
Okay. So her reaction was, why the fuck is the Canadian dude here?
No. No.
Who's that?
It just was. It was just weird to see him try to get passionate about it when he probably really wasn't passionate
Exactly.
about
You
it.
know what I'm saying? Knowing Scott, I'm sure he was like, why are we overpaying him to do anything? I don't get it. He doesn't seem to want to leave his job. Leave him alone. What was it presented like this will be a salary and it was bigger than the rec salary
Oh, you're going to match the salary.
of the rec?
Yeah.
And then say that I guarantee it'll stay open.
It'll
as
stay
long.
open, and we're committed to it. And we left the meeting. My wife was like, "Well, we'll think about it. We'll definitely think about
In
it.
the
We'll give."
room.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, we can't say yes right here." And you were not like unhappy with that, but you're like, "Come on, just say yes." You were like, you didn't want us to walk away without an answer.
Right.
But she
Because
wasn't.
I didn't
gonna
want
give you
doom
an
and
answer.
gloom to get in the car to start raining on my happy parade, like practicality.
So we go home, we talk about it, and it still wasn't enough for me to jump full with both feet. I had to go in just with a little bit, and
And that was where
I
you
said,
were like, I'll come in and I'll do all the ordering, I'll do all this, and I'll work weekends.
I'll work weekends, and we'll let. I don't know why.
Kev, what you got to do is call a guy who's not going to listen to a broad, who has nothing else to do anyway.
Totally.
I don't know
Believe me,
if
you start featuring prominently in a second.
Yeah, so I guess we're like, let him do it, and I'll run it from my house, like in terms of ordering product and everything. And,
Totally.
but then it comes back, the books ain't good. You're not getting involved with it anyway. And my wife is like, see?
Right.
See.
And that was for the the
See, Gloom?
partnership.
See? Doom told you.
Why'd you put that umbrella up? Which is believe me, I've had that moment many times with usually involving my friends as well as I point to my left. So I know that feeling and that kind of like, you just gave her all the fuel she'll ever need to kick anything in the teeth ever again. So at that point, when I come back at you for when I really buy the store,
You're like, come on, I'm buying it. really jump
And
in.
that's me. And that
First,
was
he
me,
wasn't going to buy it, though, because you sent me out to look at different locations to maybe open up a new store out of nowhere.
That was after
the books got stinky.
Yes.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's
right.
gonna be the name
So
of
between
the biography of the stash, when they write the tome
Stinky
book,
Books.
it'll be the books got stinky.
between Stinky Books and when he actually bought it, I went.
Yeah, he was looking around. We're looking at that. We're looking at
Stinky
the Kohl's
Books ignited the passion.
Yeah.
And I saw that you were like, okay, and so I was like, great, let's do it. Fuck it. So we started looking for a place to open the store, and then that didn't come to anything.
Right.
And then, so if you're saying that was 96, within the year,
he comes back at you and is like,
I'm leaving the country.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to you for a lot less than what we were talking about.
It was substantially less, if I recall.
I thought it was half.
It was 25, and you were just like, I'll give you 30. Or 27, and you were like, I'll give you 30.
Right.
Yeah.
What a negotiator.
Which would have been like, usually you go 27, he was hoping for 25.
Right.
He's just like, fine, but wait, what?
Well, I guess I had a chip on my shoulder about the whole thing, or I didn't mind over.
You had a chip with him, though. Do you remember he wouldn't accept your check that time?
Yes. That began when I first came. Oh, I do remember that. That came. I was like, that was like Southwest Airlines before Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, Twitter's like, I got so righteously indignant where I'm like, do you know what my check's worth? I
You brought
down my
articles.
ledger book. I brought down press articles. Show him that he could take, because he wouldn't do credit cards. He was all cash. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm going to be spending much cash in here. Like, look how many books I buy. Look how many books he buys. Like, let me pay by check. And he was just like, no, I don't know. I don't know who this is. He was, I mean, fine guy, but very much.
He was a prick.
I can't ever say that.
I can.
He was like comic book store guy.
He was really not likable.
Really?
No. He wasn't unlikable, but he wasn't likable.
He was just abrasive.
I don't know. He was not
was a
really
dickhead.
likable.
So funny that we're all afraid he listens. We're all pretty sure he listens.
He's in Thailand somewhere.
Listening on Radio Thailand. Damn radio.
Dickhead. Abrasive.
And he hears it 6 years later. It's always run late.
More than that.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about podcast. 6 years from now, come hunt you in your 50s and shit. Why'd you say that, Walt? So, that when that dude came at me and I said 30 grand, that was to buy not the building. Obviously, I'd continue renting the building. And how much was rent in that space?
I don't recall.
It was very cheap. I think it might have been less than $1,000.
Yeah, I think so. Substantially. Because I remember the move up here would terrified you because you were like,
it was 3 times as much, or if not more.
The previous store.
But do you remember, though, you're buying it now?
The store, yes.
Yeah. Still won't come over, though. I won't come full 2 feet.
Yes.
Just 1 foot in or a toe in.
When I'm buying it, that's when I make. I come at you and I'm like, I think I went up from the original offer of like, we'll match your salary.
Yeah, you went up.
So for the second attempt, so I guess there's 3 attempts, and at the third I win.
Yeah.
You
finally
And I lose because I'm out of a job.
No, you were going.
You were gone on day one, man. The store door opens and you were like,
you were leaving to go make Vulgar, and that's when he makes the attempt. Like the last.
No, that's when Mewes took over for a while.
Yeah.
So I still don't even come over when you're making Vulgar. Oh my God.
It was when we moved up to Broad Street. That's when I was like.
I worked at that store for a year at Mama Street.
Full time?
Well, for a long time.
I thought you were
not a year, but for a long. I was here for the move.
Because we were only 2 years at Mama Street with the stash.
What happened was I ran the store for a while. I left to make Vulgar, and then I was going to come back, but then I couldn't come back because Mewes had taken over, and you needed to keep him there so that he wouldn't go out and get in trouble.
We'll just flat out say
right, and then
heroin.
Right, and then it was less than a month later, maybe, and I get the call from Walt. He's like, "Can you take over the store again?" I was like, "Why? What happened?" And Mewes had been into some nonsense, and
we lost him.
So
And he was never really like joking.
No, he was getting customers to watch the store while he ran out to get.
That was the most amazing thing when it happened. when I heard about that. You literally, people come in like, "Oh my God, it's Jay from Jay and Silent from."
I gotta go get cigarettes.
Yeah,
Hang out.
Hey,
Watch the register.
Can you watch this place? I gotta go get cigarettes. I'll be right back. Just what? Snooze to the news.
Don't answer the phone. It could be Walt.
Totally. And this was a dude who had been in like at least 2 features at this point. In my mind, I remember doing that. You did the halfway thing for 2 years. You're saying less, 1 year?
Maybe a year and a half. I at least worked at that Monmouth.
Because you finally took over that store, and that's when I moved up to website.
Okay, but first, when we opened the store, when we took over in I say 97. You say after Christmas 97.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was 97 we
so
opened.
97 when it opened up and shit like that. And I do remember he gets the last 2 weeks of money from the books or something, and then we take over here because it's always comics are ordered in a staggered way. So when that store opens up, you wouldn't go full time on it. So I turned to Big, and Big was just like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Big wasn't a lot.
Shut up, Grandma! I'm trying to talk to my friend.
There was that advantage. But Big wasn't a comic book guy, so it wasn't like the lore, the luster, it wasn't there. And it was I had a perfect view of the universe, and it was just like I just got to get him into the comic book store. Once I can do that, everything will be fine. All right, so after about a year and a half, you decide to come full time because I come at you with a third attempt.
Come on, a third attempt. You remember?
No.
We're on the road to a video store that's going out of business.
Choice in Middletown?
No, in Howell.
Okay.
There's a store I said that if we go there, we can buy racks.
Okay.
For the spinning racks for $5.
Okay, I do remember. I know those racks are still here.
Yeah, we still got those racks. And in the car, you were like, you know what?
I'll suck your dick. Daddy, I'll suck your dick. Just run my store. Debbie's in the back seat. I'm like, still scared.
Bring it to a meeting. Scott will be there.
But
Scott's like, what's your pitch? Here it is. I'll suck your dick.
Deb, take the wheel.
But you're coming at me with an offer knowing that my wife is pregnant with our first child.
Yes.
So, which is even more like, I'm not taking it, bro. I can't.
Right.
She's
security,
pregnant.
security.
Yeah. And you make the pitch. I go home and tell my wife, and she's like, well, what do you want to do? It's like, I'd like to do it, I said, but I can understand if you don't want me to do it because I said it's too scary.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, well, I think you should do it because I don't want to be the one that keeps you in a place you don't want to be because you'll always resent it. So do it. And if it doesn't work out, she said, you could find another job.
We could always get divorced.
It doesn't work out.
You'll find another job.
And we knew this.
So she says, so she gives me the blessing, and I call you, and I say, okay, I'm on. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to move the store. And I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, he started pouring all sorts of cash
into
it.
What is he doing? I'm like, why is he moving it?
I got him.
I was like, now that he's in the hole.
We got all our shit going good on Mama Street. We got the fucking cargo nets up from the ceiling. We're hanging fucking toys.
That's true. He was walking into the SS Minnow in that store. And
it was SpongeBob before SpongeBob.
Exactly. You expected to see little Buddy hanging from the fucking ceiling or Patrick.
Squidward behind the register.
Oh, it was, but I mean, it was cool. You know what I like? The difference between that stash and this stash is that stash felt like every comic book store we had ever gone to our entire lives. And this feels like the stash. Like, this is a very distinctive comic book.
Mama Street was ghetto ass. Like, let's patchwork it together.
Yeah, I mean, Mama Street was literally, let's move into somebody else's, let's inhabit somebody else. We were hermit crabs. We went from, fucking, there's this tin can.
Put on Steve Dave's shell.
Exactly. So it was totally cool, but for a while, like once we opened the doors, I remember we started getting international traffic. Like people over the first year, people would come over from England, and that blew everybody's mind.
Yeah, people would be like, I came all the way up from Philadelphia. Be like, fuck you.
Yeah. We had people from England here once. Yeah. Like, oh. But it was so like, I can't believe they're coming all this way to go. Like, there's nothing to see. Like, we didn't have props up. Really, we didn't have, it was nothing. I mean, you would see people from the movie, and that was cool. And chances are you'd see Jason Mewes and he'd give you the keys to the store.
You might even get to work the store a little bit.
Yeah, you might actually get to 10 register and rob it, in lieu of fucking Mewes being there. So, it had its charm, but it was always comicology, and we just repainted the window and repainted the walls. Moving up here.
Mosier painted that.
That's when I started talking to Mosier a lot.
We still have that giant window in storage.
From Mama Street. Yeah.
From Mama Street. And it's plate glass. Shit's almost bulletproof. But I got to figure a way to fucking auction that or something like that. Somebody's got to really fucking love James. There's a huge piece of glass with that painting on it. But I've kept it for all those years. But I did. I wanted to. This place opened up, and I was literally like living kind of next door a little bit. I don't know if it was at the tail end of my tenure there.
Yeah, you lived almost directly above it.
Yeah, right next door. But then when it opened, that's when we moved. Right. I think somewhere around there. Because Jennifer
over to Oceanport.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was no longer living over the fucking our next door over at the stash. But when we opened this place, like Ratface came in and kind of redid and whatnot, and that was about turning it.
I do remember this motherfucker fretting too. Why do we need this shit? Why? It's all the money.
Totally. I mean, yeah, always. Walter's always been phenomenal at watching the bottom line, and like the more money was poured, and anytime I was always thinking about we should get the second floor. Like, why? He always gets irate. Everything's going fine. You don't need. It's almost like I'm like, let's have another kid, Walter. Everything's fine, perfect balance.
Yeah, then you're cowed into like, okay, that was a bad idea.
I always took the mindset though, if you were going to put me in charge, I was going to treat it as if every dollar was my dollar.
That's so abundantly clear, and that's been clear for years. And then when I literally describe it in those terms to people, I'm like, Walter runs the store like it's Walter's store, and that's what you want. Somebody who's going to treat it like you don't run the store like we ran Quick Stop. That's for sure.
No, well, I mean, like let's say I wanted to order something truly expensive, and I'm like, I'm not sure if it's going to sell. I'm never like, well, it's Kevin's dollar. No, I go home and I think about it, and I fret about it. And if I give it 2 or 3 days, if I still haven't had an answer, like I don't order it then.
Yeah, believe me, dude. You are beyond reproach and question when it comes to the stewardship of the shop. You may take a lot of heat from people who are like, just spend his fucking money. Who cares? Fuck up. But you have.
Who said that?
I said that earlier
today. But you really do. You play it like exactly like it's yours, and you play it almost more offensively than defensively. You know what I'm saying? Like most shopkeepers are kind of defensive, but you're almost offensive about it. Like I won't let a motherfucker cheat me.
It's real personal.
Comic book, like you can see you chasing a dude down, like Will Smith in the beginning of fucking Men in Black.
I remember though, like I almost took that stance even when I wasn't here full time though.
Right.
And
riding my balls.
I was riding his balls.
Yeah. What do you mean?
He would mark stuff up so that I unwittingly would give Jeff the discount and get it back to the normal price.
Awesome.
But also, I would get mad at him though if he goes, "I'm going." I call him, I don't know, and he's like, "Hey, I got to go right now." I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's 5:00." Because I got something I got to do. I'm like, what the fuck? You can't close the store early. It's like I'm going with Kevin, and I was just like, so.
I can't. My boss, like, who's saying, come with me. We're going to go to a movie. And I got to answer to this asshole.
I was like, yeah, but if fucking the store is posted there, they're like, why do we even post the hours then? I was annoyed.
It's true.
I don't know why. I shouldn't have been.
We treated it more like a comic store clubhouse. And you treated it like, this is a fucking business, you idiots. Yeah. And you were right. You've always treated it accurately. It's so much so that in the beginning, remember in the beginning?
Kev, I can't go to the movies. Walt said no.
You can't go to a later movie?
I don't know why I didn't suggest that. It would have been easier.
I'm not like going to the movies. Right over there. When we first took over this place, more so than the other place, because the other place was kind of set up under both of you, but you were there day to day. Mm-hmm. But this place was set up under your watch and the counters and blah, blah, blah. And in the beginning, I took more of an interest in this store than the other store, and I would move shit around. And I would come in and the shit would be moved back into different places. and you made it, it was very much like, if this is my place, this is my place. And you made it clear up front. It was probably, I don't know if it was intentional, but right away, it kind of like, I was like, hands off. I didn't understand that in the beginning. I was just like, why can't I put that Darth Vader figure there?
I know. I remember I lived with you at the time.
Conversation
Yeah.
with Bryan. I was just like, I don't know, man. Like it's a really cool job, and like we doubled the salary, but he won't let me put a Darth Vader figure over where I put it. Like he put it back. He literally moved it.
Because maybe it was old, and I wanted to move to like.
Bullshit. It was just like, this don't fucking go here. In the move, you can hear the disgust in your voice. Like, you don't put that there. Put this here. But there were many, like, I don't know, man. I guess I should. And at one point, you were just like, just let him have his fucking room. Back off.
Like, what are you going to do?
Space.
Like, you won't let me go to the movies. Fuck you. You can move your shit.
All right, so that's how you got to the wreck. So, wow,
No, to the store.
Information to the store, rather. But let's take it back to the wreck because it took you a long time to leave the wreck. That's why we got to that explanation of the comic book store. But it took you were a wreck man for 11 years before you started.
Yeah, so that fucker who posted that shit.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Fucking, I hope you heard that shit. Because nothing could be fucking farther from the truth.
Yes.
With Walt.
Yeah. Tell him, Steve. Your patronage of the rec center is just somebody who goes and hangs out. Begins when?
Probably when I was 12.
Okay. Had you ever been there prior to that?
A couple times.
I went with Walt a few times, and
prior to him going.
No.
I went to the rec once for a mini ceramic painting class, and I came out.
That's not what I did.
Yeah, no doubt. And I remember leaving. My mom was like, "What do you think?" I was like, "A lot of tough kids hanging out." So I didn't really go.
They don't like ceramics much. They didn't like my ceramics a lot.
There were in the early days of that. There were some I was much
late
younger,
70s, early 80s.
when I was much younger than the kids.
I'm
who
talking.
were there.
I was a kid, like unsavory types, where you're just like, they look like
They look like
over the edge.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Why not adults with beards and facial hair?
Yeah, like McCluskey's brothers and shit.
Yeah,
like Bud
there
and
was
Gus,
much older
Jay
dudes
Kennedy.
there. They were early men. And we were like little kids hanging out there too, and they kind of tolerated us, unless we did something fucked up. And then you took a chance of getting your ass beat.
Which is weird because at 17 or 18, would you ever have considered beating up a 12-year-old?
No, not at all.
But yeah, you watched yourself, man, because you could get smacked around.
Did you ever really think about being, even at 12, you're like, I don't know if I want to fight that guy.
Yeah, because he cut me in order to play fucking Space Invaders or pool or
you fucking bitch.
But you didn't want to.
No.
But you didn't want to go out like a puss either, though.
You fucking fat bitch. Mom, they're tough boys there. Tough boys was our code for. Immediately gave me cocoa because it meant somebody called me fat. He's like, all the tough boy things.
They smashed my ceramics.
Calling them tough again. He's like, just say fat, would you? Those are not synonyms.
Stop dressing it up, Grace.
That boy will never learn. He's eating hair.
Whoa. That's a good reference.
Okay, so you probably go to the rec definitely first. You were there probably before I was ever there.
And there's a guy who works there who
and essentially he was the guy that opened the rec and in charge of
he wasn't in
programs.
charge at that point.
He just worked there.
How old would he have been at the time?
He's in his 20s.
Yeah.
He's the guy, when he's on shift, you're like, I find it easier to hang out at the rec. He's kind of more one of us, even though he is old.
He's older, but he's got a sense of humor. He's not, but he's still he still runs a tight ship though when we're playing sports.
Mm-hmm.
Like he likes to, he enforces the rules.
He enforces the rules.
He plays, but he's fair and he's funny too.
While he plays.
Yeah, he's not you can start ragging on somebody and he's not like, knock it off.
Right.
You can get it to a point and he'll say, knock it off.
I'll send you over to the ceramics class.
Where I was peering through the window with my hands pressed against the glass. Sheer terror on my
Tough
face.
boys.
You can see me breathing heavily. Tough boys coming this way. This gentleman's name is Timmy Hill.
Right.
Timothy Hill. Tim Hill is working at the rec when you meet him for the first time. Does he use the term slimy then?
Probably.
I mean, do you remember? You've been around Tim for a long time. Tim was like your first wife in many ways.
But for all the years, and you're one of those people that got divorced but still remain friends. You go to hockey games together.
Yeah, I mean, we're still friends. Like, it's weird.
Friends,
like, I mean, I guess most
Just
people
opened
don't-
your pool, for Christ's sakes.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But most people don't leave their job and are still friends with their former boss. He never really felt like a boss, though.
Never.
He felt more like a friend.
I did that. I've
there was
done that
times
5
though, like
times.
if it did get weird, and he took that boss stance.
Where he's like, "Suck it, Walter." And you're like, hey, stop being a boss. Tim.
It was very few and far, but I remember going home and being like, I don't like this anymore, man.
Oh, like wanting to quit the job?
Not quit, but I was like, damn, I don't like that, man. When he puts his boss pants on.
When he takes his pants off.
No, when he puts his boss pants on.
Yes.
And then a few times he had to.
Do you remember like things that he said?
I think his boss pants were crotchless, weren't they? That's why I hated it.
There were more chaps than pants.
He's like, "Walter, I've got my boss pants on." You're like, I hate it when he has pants
I don't like this shit. He's not being fair.
It was fun when we play games and shit, but this is just, I think he wants to suck my dick. I don't want to work here anymore. He was a dude. How many years had you hung out the rec before he offered you a position?
6.
This is always sounds.
No, actually, I got old then.
I dig him. It sounds so vaguely sexual. What position was he on? You got when?
I got old though. I got like older teen.
I like young boys.
No.
I'm not interested in you anymore like that. Would you like to work at the rec?
Walt grew a beard, start kicking 12-year-olds' asses.
As I got into my junior, senior year, I stopped hanging out there. It was too old for it. It was like a lot of young kids.
Unlike
there.
when the rec first opened and 28
Yeah, for some reason, though, when it first opened, it was respectable for older kids to
But
hang
what
out there.
in that at that time, did they still have the game room and shit though? 86. I thought
That
it
pool
got
table's been there probably.
the pool table's been there, but that
The game
library
room-
used to have games in it.
Yeah.
Well, I remember Asteroids, but what other games?
Oh, they had a
They had
pinball machine in
machines
there. Yeah.
and like a whole bunch of pinball.
That was
Might be going back to
early
the Tough Boy
80s
days.
stuff. Yeah, that was
Step foot
definitely
in there
yeah.
regularly.
You're like, I made a teapot.
Bam!
Get them, tough boys.
Did you see me at that fucking ceramics faggot? Fat piece of shit. Way to show your creative side, bitch. They were poorly painted, too. I still have them. They're in a little cabinet in my house because I gave them to my grandmother. When my grandmother died, somebody gave them back to me, and I was like, can't throw them out. I painted these when I was like 12.
I risked my life to make these.
I bled for these. This is the scariest moment of my life. Okay, so you go to the rec, you start hanging out. You're too old. You're about
I'm too old, and I leave the picture.
Have you had
Now,
any
this is
jobs
in
at
my
this point?
backyard, though.
Yeah, like literally.
Like-
Let's explain because again, it is Highlands.
It's Highlands.
Peephole history. You lived on. You don't.
I lived on a street very close to the rec center. You
Yeah,
can see
like-
it from my backyard.
You can literally walk to the rec, be there in like a minute and a
Yeah.
half from your
Mhm.
house.
And we played, for like 6 years, we played everything there. Football, hockey, basketball,
That's
baseball.
the other thing. What year is it when you first go to the rec?
78,
So when the Devils
82.
82, like, are you?
It's not even on my radar.
Is it not because of Timmy?
No, it's not because of Timmy.
Well, who introduces you to the Devils?
Hartsgrove. Introduces,
Hartsgrove?
yeah, I'm delivering newspapers and they're playing street hockey up by and in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm delivering newspapers.
Eddie Parker Manor, you mean?
Yeah.
It's funny that you call the projects because like the projects are like Cabrini Green or like Good Times shit, you know.
So I see.
They look like apartments, kind of.
Hartsgrove, Hornacek, Sean Frost. They're all playing street hockey on a street off the highway, which is fucked up. I mean, they're that
It's
close
true.
to the highway.
You're talking about a street that would be like off Kavusian, across from Kavusian Field or something. Yeah, and it's not even a flat surface either.
No.
And if you miss the ball, it's going
It's
right
going into
the
a highway where there's
Yeah.
cars are going by like 90 miles an hour.
Easily.
So I see them
And you're
playing.
like, that game's for me.
And I'm like, I see them playing. I'm like, hey, man, can I pick up a stick and play? And they're like, yeah. And I fucking love it.
And you were
immediately.
delivering papers and you just threw them down? And
Yeah.
that's a love of hockey story right there. He threw his
I hated the
bags to
papers. though.
side. Yeah,
I hated
sure.
delivering newspapers.
It was the advisor, right?
No, it was Azure
Was
Park
it-
Press.
oh, it was the press at that point?
I had a downtown route and an uptown route.
Look at you, industrious motherfucker.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Ever working? Did you have a job before you had the rec job?
Yes.
What?
I worked at Food Town.
Doing what? Bagging or stuff?
Bagging and what's it called when you're ringing in?
That was
Cashier.
the summer. Wasn't that after we graduated?
Yeah,
though,
the
Food
year I
Town?
graduated.
Yeah.
Long hair or short hair?
I had long hair, which was strange.
They
did.
let you have it at Food
Yeah,
Town?
they needed someone so bad they didn't care.
Really?
They needed someone so
Didn't
badly.
London get you that job?
Yeah.
Mark London got him that job. Yeah.
What did you think of working at Food Town? That's Atlanta.
At times, I liked
was a
it.
food store in Atlantic Highlands.
No,
That was in Seabright at the
Seabright.
time.
Oh, you got that? You were it was in Atlantic. It was the food town out
Yeah,
there.
it was
Wow.
out-
Okay, still not Highlands. A whole
Right.
another town. A whole other town. How long you worked there?
Probably from what year? What month do you graduate school?
June of 86.
So June of 86 till September of 86.
So when you graduated high school, you still hadn't worked at the rec.
No,
So what? Year
my only job was a newspaper route.
What year do you get the job at the rec? Does Timmy
86.
go?
September of 86.
And you've just graduated high school? Like graduated high school a few months prior?
Yeah, I actually
So
go
you
to the rec.
graduated in August, June of 86, and you spend the summer partying.
No, I spent
I played
that's
basketball
probably my
a lot.
last year I ever drank was 86, like heavily where I got drunk.
That was the year me, you, and Hartsgrove
Yeah.
straight up for 3 straight days. Drinking and shit.
Doing
You
crank
did or
and
didn't
shit.
party?
I partied. I
Fucking
mean,
liar.
if you want to call it partying, I mean, that was like the summer of 86 was probably the last time I drank where I got drunk really bad. My drawer was like $200 short one day, and I didn't do anything to it. I don't know how it fucking happened. They're giving me all sorts of shit. They're keeping me there like hours after I'm supposed to leave. They want to know what happened to the money. Finally, they just let me leave, and I'm like, I'm not going back there. And I stop at the
That
rec
doesn't
center.
make you look suspicious.
Like, we knew we had the
But I
right
didn't do
guy.
anything, though. I
He
didn't-
wouldn't come back to defend himself. Criminal.
I was really disenfranchised with it. I mean, they were accusing me of stealing money, and I swear up and down, I didn't.
Disenchanted.
Somehow I fucked
You
up.
were disenchanted.
Yeah, when I say disenfranchised.
Disenfranchised.
What does
Which
that
you
mean?
were because you were like, I left the Food Town franchise altogether.
No, I had a job at the Hobby Masters in
In Red Bank?
in Mattawan.
How long?
2 days.
You actually drove down there? How did you
That's
get there? 'Cause
after
you didn't
I-
have a license.
I didn't have a license. My mom and then my dad drove me the 2 days I worked there.
Right.
I only
They're like,
lasted
"Fuck
2
this
days
shit."
because I thought I was going to be working with comic books, and they had me dusting. And then
You were like, dusting comic books?
and I was like, all
no,
right. So
dusting.
I'm like, all right, I'll
Fucking
bide my
paintbrushes.
time. I'll dust, but eventually I'm going to get over to that comic book section, and I'm
Right.
going to fucking run it. And they're going to
Run-
see how
did you
I
run
could do it.
scenarios in your head?
Yeah. These fuckers don't know what they're doing.
They'll never tell me where to put a Darth Vader. I'll decide.
You'd be like in your head going like, somebody just say something about Deadshot. And I'll be like, Deadshot, did you ever read? And you know a lot about comics.
Right.
I'll be
Put that duster down.
How could they not see my brilliance? How could they fucking not see
It's
what I
been
could
2
offer them?
days.
I'm fucking dusting the yarn. Why can't they see I'd be good with comics?
So they're like, they call me over and they go, okay, it's lunchtime, second day. So clock out for lunch.
Feel like it's lunchtime, second day. Fired.
Basically, they go, now when you get back from lunch, we want an attitude change because you're walking around all mopey.
Right.
And they're like, what's the problem? And I'm like, I don't have a problem. I go,
Oh, wait. Wasn't that the place that the guy told you couldn't
Yeah.
wear polo shirts?
yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, that's still, I don't know if he was fucking around, but he never did say he was fucking around.
Now, again, for perspective, this is also not Highlands.
This is way
Mattawan.
Aberdeen, Mattawan. It's
almost
far.
by the Parkway entrance. Isn't
Yeah.
it? It's like right by past the
But it's
Parkway
like at that point,
It was
I
the
took-
only
it was
comic
the great
book store,
comic book
and it was
store.
the first one probably in the Monmouth County area, probably going way back. Hobby Masters. It wasn't just comics. It had a lot of shit. They had
Models.
everything. It was the best hobby store. Not
The
comic
back
store.
issues was amazing.
The back issue was when you got to the comic section, there was a lot of care and attention put into everything. Like they ran a comic book store in the hobby store the way somebody would run a comic book store that has no hobby store attachment. Like it was just as much fervency and passion was put into it. The back issue selection was phenomenal. That's where I picked up like Grimjack. Every run that I had, I
Right.
bought at that store. So they ask you to like clock out and come back with it.
Come back with a turnaround attitude. You need to be chipper and energetic. And I'm like, all right. So I go, I
the
get
fuck
my
were they
pizza.
talking to?
I go and get my pizza, and I get on the phone. And I call my mom, and I'm like, come get me. This fucking job's done. I'm
Really?
not going back. So I go down and sit down and get pizza, and one of the managers from the food town in Seabright happens to
remember
come
this.
in to the store, and that's why my hair's long. I have a lightning bolt in I remember I used to wear a lightning bolt earring, and
Isn't that weird?
ridiculous.
Walls with an earring?
Oh, so awesome.
And
Well,
the
why?
manager
Just to
comes-
rebel or to
He-
blend?
I just liked the way it looked,
Right?
and
Do you have it in the good ear?
Not the queer ear.
Not the queer ear, no. My kids don't believe me that I had an earring. They
Really?
just won't believe it.
Was it the queer ear, Dad?
Yeah.
But it doesn't exist now, right?
The
I don't
whole-
think so.
The quote
Oh,
unquote.
no, I don't think it
I
means
mean,
that anymore.
when I had
dudes
earrings,
wear-
I always had both in.
Yeah, like dudes wear both sides. But back in the day, it was very specific. I mean, we should explain for those who were not alive then. Back in the day, if you were a guy and you had an earring, and a dude having an earring kind of came into vogue maybe a few years, 10 years before it came, people 10 years older than you guys is where the earring.
I got
came
my
into
earring
vogue.
in 1983.
So that's what I'm saying. Like
Mhm.
early 70s is where dudes start puncturing. I mean, it goes back ancient traditions, but in America, it starts coming into vogue, I think, in the early 70s is where you start seeing dudes putting earrings in their ear. But back then, or at least while we were kids, I don't even know if it's true or if it was urban myth or whatever, but if you were a guy and you had it in which side, left or right?
I think it was the right ear.
I think it was if it was in the right ear,
That meant you were gay.
you're looking for gayness.
And if it's in the left ear, you're
You're
just
straight.
You're not making
Metal.
ceramics.
What a weird distinction, man, where it's just like you can puncture this ear and put something girly in it, and you're a goddamn man. But if you puncture this ear and put something girly in it, you're a goddamn cock.
Well, maybe it was just sending a message though, so you knew other
Like a toe
guys that
tapping
were
kind of
sure,
thing?
absolutely.
Now it just doesn't exist, right? Like dudes
I don't
have
think
both
so.
ears pierced
Yeah.
and whatnot. All right, so you had a lightning bolt.
I had a big
Were you
lightning
riding
bolt
the
in my-
lightning and shit?
Yeah, it was definitely that era.
Because it was 86 that came
86.
out. Yeah.
So
That was metal.
yeah.
It was metal.
Yeah.
To have a lightning bolt.
And like, I mean, it's not a mullet. I got a full long hair.
Mm-hmm.
So this manager walks in with a bunch of other guys in suits from the Seabright Food Town.
Had you worked there yet or no?
I had worked there and I had not gone back.
Then left under suspicious circumstances.
That's right. The
But I don't think,
$200.
but this guy was such a high up. He wasn't there all the time. And he wasn't a bad guy. He always would say hello to me. So, I'm at that point. I'm like, do I even say hello or am I just like, don't say anything? And usually 99 out of 100 times, I probably would just like order my pizza, sat down, but I made
Pretend
the
you
effort.
didn't see him.
I pretend I didn't see him. But this time I said, oh, hey man, what's up? And he looked at me and he looked at his friends and laughed like who's this piece of trash saying hello to me?
Get out of
This
here.
metal-
Pretend he didn't know me and just and scoffed at
I
me.
don't know.
Yeah.
I heard it almost immediately after it
It
happened.
really bugged me, and
Yeah,
that, it probably
You called him
affected
up
me,
to be like,
You're
can you
like,
believe this?
this jerk off?
stuff?"
Yeah.
and that probably affected my whole way of how I come into contact with people even today.
Really? Based on that?
Yeah,
Some
I'm like,
fucking random food town jerk off.
Random food town guy that snubs you is the equivalent of the uncle that touches you. He ruined you for life.
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm not gonna. Why bother talking to anybody? I'm just gonna call you an asshole and scoff.
he definitely looked at me like, can you believe this like
I don't know who he is.
trash looked at
Him
me?
talking to me, a food town manager.
Yeah, a higher up.
So I call my mom. She comes.
He gave you the fucking
He did.
hat. So you call your mom comes and
Mom
gets
gets me. I go down to the wreck to shoot
you.
hoops.
Can we stop for a second before you get to the moment of truth where you're getting the wreck job?
Okay.
It's an important detail
Yeah, I don't
that
have a
we're
license.
glossing over. A very important detail. How old are you at this point?
18.
You would have been 18 going on 19.
Yeah.
And your mom came to get you. Now, this is not because your car stalled or you ran out of gas as kids with new cars are wont to. You don't have a license.
Didn't have a license.
Now, this is rare in our neck of the woods because you can get a license, a learner's permit at age 16. By 17, everybody in Hudson drove.
You go on your birthday to get it.
Oh, you ran to it. Like it wasn't even, it was rite of passage. It was just this thing you did as soon as you could.
I took my driver's test in a pickup truck because that's all I had at the time.
But you were like, gotta get it.
I gotta get
this
it,
license is freedom. It was every Bruce Springsteen song ever written. I get this, I'm gone, baby.
I'm born to run.
Yeah, this one horse town ain't holding me back. The drive to get the license was the drive for life. It was like Schindler's List. Everybody just needed the document. When I met you, you had no license. And when we started hanging out, you were how old? Because I was about 18.
Well, that would have been 88,
88,
So I'm
89.
20.
And it was, I mean, for lack of a better description, it was strange. It was odd.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being like, I remember having to literally go like, did you lose it for drinking? And you were like,
You look scruffy.
I thought, I was like, that would be a metal explanation. Like, I can't drive because I got busted DWI.
I demand my license.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, kill them all.
Metal up your ass.
And ride the lightning. See the earring, motherfucker.
I should have went with that story instead of the fucking truth. I was like, no, I just don't have it. I'm afraid to get it. I'm afraid I'm going to fucking crash.
Is that the reason you never got the license?
I had like a phobia of it. I was like, man, I don't know if I could drive a car. I'm going to fucking hit somebody. I know it.
So, okay, but being afraid of like hitting somebody with the vehicle is one thing, but like having a license is such a, like you need a license. People are like, I see your driver's license? And I guess you didn't need to in the world that you were dwelling?
And then I got a job that I could see from my backyard.
So you obviously, but there's no part of you, before we get to the job, which is a big part, and we want to get to it, but there was no part of you that even though you were like, I'm afraid of driving a car, like everybody else is getting their license, I better get my fucking license. What made
it got
you
to a point where it was like, you never see like somebody gets a tumor and they just let it grow till it's the size of another person.
So it's like a goiter or something like that. Yeah.
It was like that.
Personally, but you just kept avoiding the pink elephant in the room or whatever?
I just was like, I don't need it. I don't think about it because I'm like, it's been so long, I'm probably never going to get it.
Did you really think there was a time you thought you would never have a driver's license?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, now when you talk about kids not having driver's license, if you're a fucking city kid, like if you live in Manhattan and shit, none of those motherfuckers ever got licenses.
Right, because you're taking the subway or buses.
We live in the suburbs. You can't do anything without the power of a license.
If you go from Highlands to Red Bank in a car, it takes 12 to 15 minutes. If you take the bus, it takes an hour and 10 minutes.
Which you would do a lot.
Oh, yeah.
You would do, in order to get from Highlands to buy comics, and eventually, I mean, you couldn't go back to the Hobby Masters that you burned after you
did eventually. It took about a while, but I did go back.
How long before you would go back?
Over a year.
And were they like, hello,
Walter? They actually didn't say anything. They never addressed it. They just were like, hey, what's going on?
They're like, he's a customer, man.
Right. They treated me like a customer.
Smart move.
That's what I would do here.
Yeah. Well.
If Mike walked out?
Mike walked out, and then when he came back to spend money,
a year later,
I'm not going to take his money.
I feel
you. You can cut that because everyone knows that shit already.
What if he left you in a lurch?
Oh, left him with books?
Or like left you with a shit ton of books he didn't pay for, and B, like in the busy, like Christmas.
He would fucking call me in 2 seconds.
Well, actually, there was a reservist who left us with a lot of shit, and I saw him in the mall, and I confronted him.
And?
He apologized.
He was like, here's the money. But he's just like, I'm sorry, man.
No, I was like, I saw him in the mall around Christmas time, and I was like, hey, what the fuck, man? Whatever happened? I go, you left us with a lot of shit. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I went away to college. And I was like, what, no fucking phones in college?
He's always in trouble with
it. Can't be a Peephole history. It's good Walt hunting. Because we're getting to the bottom of everything of what fucking makes Walt tick. Like, this motherfucker, if only he would have.
Was it that red-haired kid? I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And then he just looked at the ground, and he was just like,
he was a fucking jerk off, though. He deserved to be confronted.
But
fucking college
boy. Customer today. He's a customer today, and he's a good customer. I chalk it up to like he was just going away his first year in college.
No, you fucking secretly chalk it up to I dressed him down in the mall, and he came back out of guilt.
But why would he come back though? Because if that happened to me, and I've burned a lot of comic book stores, so I was kind of hypocritical.
The audacity that you would fucking confront someone in public and be like, how dare you leave a comic book store with a lot of books that you ordered in advance?
At least call, though. Even though I didn't. No, I didn't.
We talked about that on one podcast where he had me set up a deal in Long Branch, and this guy's like, you're not going to burn me, right? You're not going to burn me. I'm like, no, we're not going to burn you. Next thing Walt's like, I'm burning him.
Every man for himself.
So what was I talking about, though? Oh, I didn't have a license.
Yes. So it just never, there was no, I got to get it. You were like, I'll get to it eventually. And plus,
people were driving me around now.
You had a vast
enablers.
network of friends.
we're the dickheads.
I mean,
why didn't you guys pull an intervention?
It was one of those things that, like, once I talked to you about it, and you,
I know it was a problem with your mom, right? Because she was like, "Why the fuck you always driving this fucking?"
Yes, not a problem, but she was like, she just couldn't understand. She's like, "How old is he?" And I was like, "He's older than me." She couldn't get that, or it was always like, "Why can't he fucking drive?" No, she wouldn't curse, but why doesn't he drive? I was like, he doesn't have a license, so I got to drive. She's like, "We're putting all these miles on the car."
Was it because he was metal? Was he drinking and driving? No.
Even my mom couldn't.
But at that point, I'd cut my hair though.
Yeah. No, she couldn't guess at metal.
Yeah.
She was just like, what is he, retarded? Is he not allowed?
He's slow? Slow Walt?
Okay, so that just ties up. You didn't get the when did you get the license?
I don't know. My future wife took me under her wing. It was like, I'm gonna show you how to drive.
I also taught you though. You
used to before I have children.
Yes, I did. That station wagon.
Yeah,
remember?
But it didn't go well though.
I'm not saying it went well. I'm just saying I tried to help you drive.
It was
yeah,
bad, right?
Yeah,
I was terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wasn't a great.
He wasn't a good teacher though. He's like motherfucker, cursing and fucking making me all sweaty and shit. My wife didn't do that.
Barking at him while teaching him to drive.
I don't recall barking. I remember you
supportive. You were like, you weren't saying doing a good. You're like, if I was doing a good job, you didn't reinforce it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was real wide and fast. I also remember you fucking slamming on the brakes in front of my house, and Hartsgrove hit his head on the dashboard.
Yeah, I was a bad driver when I first started.
Well, then Debbie taught me how.
Then she tenderly taught me how to drive.
She was
were there kisses involved? Like you did good.
Gentle, yeah. I needed a gentle.
Where the fuck
hand.
was I going to learn that? You know what my childhood was like. I was giving you the fucking.
You could have been reassuring with a fucking like a little peck on the cheek, a little pat on the ass, like a team player.
I didn't get that growing up.
Balls.
You had to reinforce I was doing good instead of like
point out the negative.
Like pull over and you give him a hug, like an awkwardly long hug. And
right.
I'm so proud of you,
buddy. You're doing great.
You're old. You're 20. I know you're 25. You're learning how to drive. You're doing awesome.
Somebody calls the cops. They're like, "There's two dudes hugging in front of my house." The guy's parked on my front lawn for some reason.
But you eventually did get it. How old?
21, 22, 23.
I think it's closer.
It was a topic of conversation, like one of those things. You weren't one of those characters that got discussed regularly behind your back. Like he was somebody that got discussed regularly behind his
Still.
back. And Ed was one who would get discussed regularly. But you didn't have much scandalous shit to really talk about, unless it was just like, he won't let me put the fucking Darth Vader statue. or in this instance, the fucking like, why do you think he doesn't have his driver's license? Like, did he get something happen when he was a boy? Was he cut with a license? Or, what happened? Like, I remember having discussions like that, particularly with Ed, because Ed always knew how everybody's life should be run anyway. But he would, I should take him out, beat him up, and make him get his driver's It was all about violence. Like violently making Walt get his license. Okay. So your mother, this is before you have the license, but you are in your 20s? No.
Yeah. No, 18, probably almost 19.
Okay. You call your mom, she comes, picks you up, you go home, you go over to the rec
to shoot some
for
basketball.
the first time in a while? You said that?
Well, no, I would go over there to shoot baskets because the basketball court wasn't actually in the building.
Yes, it
was way down in the parking lot, like about, I don't know, how
maybe 100 yards.
And he asked me what's going on, and I told him that
This is Timmy.
Yeah, Timmy asked me what's going on.
Timmy.
Well, how what are you going to do with this with school now? What?
It was South Park. Hey, Walt. Do you want a job? All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Most awkward negotiation of all time. It was like a blink if you mean yes. So Tim goes.
He's asked me, "Are you going to school? Because are you going to go start going to college?"
They give me a laugh. Hold the ball under his arm, Timmy.
He's like doing a very dramatic placement of the ball on the cement and almost very violent physical when then timber.
Sure, there's a position open.
Anyway, he says he offers you the job.
Well, he goes, "Are you going to go to school now? I know you graduated." Or he goes, "Well, and I was like, "No, I'm not going to school." So what are you doing? I go, "Well, I just quit my job." I said today. I said I had a job in Matawan. And he goes, and we always got along. So he said, "I got a position open." He goes, "Why don't you come in tomorrow and fill out an application. I'll see what I can do about putting a good word in for you.
So he was in charge of the wreck.
Right.
Not to say, I just think,
But he wouldn't have.
He was the man down there. He was like Denzel Washington. Training day.
King Kong ain't got me.
You want to come at me, nickel? He wasn't. He wasn't that.